stop
That's like,
all of a sudden now? Bro, you're all over the place.
no, I'm really consistent.
I don't think Gabe's gonna be suffering too much.
Booger check. Booger check. Good morning, Ashley. Oh, are you free tonight?
Bobby or
What is it when you say the do no harm oath? It's called not really habeas corpus. I
Hippocratic.
got H stuck in my brain. Oh, it has below.
Hadith.
He was like a great king, and he was the decider in that decision. But it our medical do no harm is based off of his principle.
Hippocrates, right?
Oh, the Hippocratic Oath. Yeah, Hippocrates. I think that's where it comes from, is Hippocrates, is what I'm thinking. I may be completely fucking wrong. I'm sitting here smoking a blunt.
Yeah, but I can't do it. I would like to adopt kids too, you know?
Yeah,
My
but
sister does that fostering stuff.
you have to have the base, and the base is not too good.
No, it's horrible.
So don't even think about having kids or adopting any. We had a conversation yesterday, so take it seriously.
He was really mean about it too. Could you kick out Edmund?
Yeah.
I like it. It's nasty.
A great sport.
Get tender about it.
I watch it because every time they hit the ball, the girl goes, "Ugh."
That's
And
fine.
it keeps me coming back for the next point.
Well, that's fine. Tennis is the sport of hot ladies worldwide, though.
I like that. Little boat people.
Good morning, sexy rat.
Good morning.
How do you feel?
I'm moist.
It is real, it is real, it is real.
Thanks. Yes, absolutely.
Love you.
Oh, love you too. Or I mean, kind of.
Me on me.
Kind of. Good for you. Preference. That's strange.
Who was that? You know the girl?
I have no idea.
Love you.
It's Servitude Sunday.
Are you just the shit out of that? You're just like, you didn't know who that was?
Well, I'm on a green screen. Sure hope no one takes advantage of
I have a lot of
the fact
fans on
that
here,
it's
dude.
easy to put
No,
me
it's
anywhere. Look at the...
I'm like a cult leader and shit. People come in, they're just like,
I don't have anything
I'm just
funny
like,
to say, is it?
You used to call me on your cell. You loved it, but it's bad. Now you used to call me on your cell. You loved
they don't want to eat your butt.
it.
Tell me on your butt.
Give me a hug.
I'll check.
I'm listening to the latest on Erykah Badu right now.
Nice. Kiss me with your bone. Kiss me
Kiss me with your bone.
Kiss me with your butt.
You don't have to call.
You yours to you yours.
So please work. Cause you're nation.
You used to call me on your butt sex. Late night when you're dead. Oh, whatever. Oh, anyways, Rico, you still have go through all your friends. Are you friends with Scorpio?
Donnie, we got a little fluctuation on one.
Oh, no, I'm friends with Brock. That's all right.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you for saving me time. I don't wanna have that ring. Like in the won't hurt.
Have you guys seen the lineup for Bonnaroo next year?
No, the type. I can't imagine.
It's kind of curtailed to our age group.
Meals on Wheels for veterans. You got a lot of stuff that people do need, people do rely on, which is not quote unquote waste and whatever. And with Marshall, yes, it's already been proven that 150 was a kind of a lie. Them checks were not going out, for one. Okay, so a lot of this stuff has been proven wrong because what Elon is the bigger pusher of misinformation on the internet because he owns a platform. He can say what the hell he wants to say. You know, it's already been proven that.
Elon more than anybody can say anything about it.
Hold on just a sec. AJ, did you wanna reply or?
No, thanks, Kelly. But I would be interested in some other folks on the stage who, Marshall or anyone else who has knowledge about the programs being cut if they had a response to.
Yeah, I'll just say on the farm program.
Hold on just a sec. Yeah, one sec, Leon. Leon, I want to hear from you. Let's let Brian jump in because I think he might have some immediate knowledge about.
All right, the farm program, there was funding that was paused, and there were projects that were completed and just needed to be paid out to some farmers. And when that money was paused, some of them were worried about that, but they did not shut down normal farm programs. These are one-off projects that people were building, whether it's a greenhouse or some kind of equip program, which would be putting in a shelter belt or something, a CRP. They're all bigger projects that are usually 50-50 most run through. And so the farmer took 100% of the loan, and 50% would be paid back upon final inspection that it was done properly. And some people got that inspection completed, and then they were waiting for their final payment. So that was paused. That's now been said that they're going to reinstate all those payments. There's nothing saying farmers aren't going to be able to farm. And even if they would have kept pausing those payments, farmers still would have farmed. It just would have been a handful of farmers who had projects.
And I would say that I would trust Elon if almost anything right now compared to any other left media or any left-leaning people tell us what he actually done or what he actually intend to do. His trust is earned for anybody. He's someone else right now he actually put his life on the line. Because the thing he did, he's doing right now is actually very, very risky. He's making a lot of powerful enemy. He could die every time right now. This thing, you know, the thing you do right now, I think is very close to it's almost like trying to destroy the communism idea. So, yes, it is true that these people but you know what? What this country has been through for the last 4 years, I don't mind he destroys something, you know. Hey, the good thing is that America, we still are a free country. The freedom of speech we have right now is still intact in some way. So if there's something wrong, Trump or Elon Musk did something wrong, you know what? We can speak out. You know, tell them, hey, don't do that. Correct yourself, okay? And they did correct themselves many times. You know, for the thing they have done wrong. So which is good.
I think that's a good point. Go ahead and land though, and let's all try to keep our shares a little bit shorter so we can have a lot of back and forth. But I think that's a good point that we can go back and we can go back and correct things. Yeah, thank you.
What is a good point about everything that he said? I mean, Elon is not even.
Okay, when Stefani, I'll answer. Hold on just a sec. Listen, I don't want to. Hold on just a sec. Everybody, I don't care when Stefani. I'm not concerned with that. I'm asking everyone to be quiet really quickly. I don't want to do a Q. I don't want to do a Q agent. There may be some people that haven't spoken yet. If you're raising your hand, things like that. I'm likely not looking at the screen. I doubt Norm is either. I'd rather just keep it popcorn, keep everybody stay brief. And listen, here's just one tip: if you jump in and you start out with a question, people are immediately going to answer it. So if you have more to say, save whatever question you have for the last comment so that you don't have people interrupting you, because it is just natural for people to want to answer. Go ahead, Gwen Stefani. We can take that question at the end of your.
No, I wasn't asking a question. I was making a statement. You assumed I was asking a question, but
you literally asked. Okay, so Gwen Stefani, here's the thing.
Problem.
What you said, you framed it as a question. I get it that you didn't mean it that way, and that's why I'm saying just don't do that at the beginning, whether you want answers or not.
No problem. It's your room. Okay, it's your room. I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, it's just the English language, and so when people ask a question, regardless of what they intend, people are going to want to.
Absolutely. I'm speaking Ebonics. Don't really get the point with Elon. He's not an American citizen. He's, just here because Trump wants him here, and he's regulating things the way he's supposed to regulate it. Don't really find the whole logic behind Doge. And even if he is, fucking with people's Social Security and stuff, my grandmother's been collecting my grandfather's Social Security because she was married to him. So I'm guessing, he's going to try to figure out why my grandmother's been collecting my grandfather's Social Security, who was, killed in the train accident. But I guess he has a right to do that, even though he doesn't know how American politics work.
Can I respond to you very succinctly? Gwen Stefani. Elon Musk is the first industrialist, inventor, whatever you want to call him, who managed to land a rocket ship on its ass. And then he did that multiple times. Because he did that, he should be allowed to do whatever else he says he wants to do. And we should just let him do it. And thank him for it. Thank you, I'm done speaking.
Wow. I think. Hold on. I think that's half its role. I'm guessing most of us can acknowledge that. Listen, we can all agree or disagree on his accomplishments and how important they are for the future of mankind, not just America. But as much as people appreciate him for those accomplishments, I don't know. What that has to do with people being concerned about his moving fast and breaking things. I think it's totally fair for people to question what's going on. I want to speak when it's free to some sort of faith. You can. I feel like I already said we can do popcorn, but let's just wait till other people are done. I'm almost finished. I just think it should be based on something that is real, like the reality of what's going on. The concerns shouldn't be extremely hyperbolic, and neither should should the credit given to Elon Musk, frankly. And Gwen Stefani, the original thing that you said when you unmuted was, you asked what out of what Leon said could be a good point. And what I said was things will get broken and they can be put back into place. That was the point I was referencing.
Also, Elon Musk is a United States citizen.
Faith, that's popcorn. Jump in. There's nobody talking.
Sorry, I kept on wanting to be polite and just trying to flash the screen. But basically, so one of the things that is concerning to me is that Elon Musk has glaring conflict of interest. 23% of his income comes from China because he has his Shanghai manufacturing of Tesla models over there. A lot of his financing has come from the CCP when he put his loans when he did manufacturing of creating the facilities there. One of the things that I did do research on is in Idaho that based off of the commitments of reduction in income. Sorry, I'm going off because I wrote an essay on this. But essentially, I was talking about Idaho, and so it was 30% of their income comes from the federal government, and I think the goal is $2 trillion in budget cuts from Elon Musk. So Musk speculated that he wants to cut federal spending as much as $2 trillion, or a third of the federal budget. Sorry, I'm just, because I wrote a long essay, but I'm just trying to kind of summarize the points. But I think what's also concerning is that a lot of the agencies that Elon Musk, like there were 24 agencies, all of them had been investigating him. There were instances where people had, working in his factories, they had their arms amputated. There was a person that died in some of it. And so the issue is there's a conflict of interest, and I don't think it's just, oh, well, yeah, because he got a rocket to, you could sit there and have a rocket that successfully turns on its back. But what that speaks to is, what if because you also take to mind that in that process, so 6 of his rocket ships actually failed, and he was in trouble with different agencies, and I have that list, but I just have to go over it. It's too much to go off of the information. I'm trying to condense it as much as possible because I know we're at popcorn style. But essentially, I just feel it's a very much of a conflict of interest, and he's basically cutting out people's labor rights and the fact that he's investigated for unpaid wages towards workers and horrendous working conditions. I personally know someone that they said they were discriminated in the workplace, and they ended up settling a lawsuit. I know I can't sit there and I can cite that particular instance because I know that person in person, but I can speak to the news articles that I've gone through and citing documentation as far as to when he's had talks with Joe Rogan about the 6 rocket ships that have
you could just land this pretty quickly.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys continue because I don't want to take all of it, but there's just a lot to go over. I'm happy to share links if anyone is asking for it, but yeah, there's just a lot to cover.
Yeah, just really quickly, it's not so much that I don't want you to cover it. I just want to stick the point at a time so that we can have people reply fairly quickly in context rather than having to go forward and backward. But whoever wants to jump in.
I think it's worth noting to the point you made, Faith, that there are ethics requirements in this government agency that was repurposed, like its federal authority was repurposed. It's only been a month, so the question will be whether he complies with said ethics laws. He has given public statements that he will comply with ethics laws, but like I said, we're only a month in, and so there's not, aside from maybe submitting one report, I'm not sure there's enough information there to really tell whether he'll comply or not, but that essentially is the check on his conflicts of interest. Those pieces of federal law that say you have to disclose X, Y, and Z, and whether that's enforced, we'll find out. But those are the rules used to check special government employees, which is what he is.
Well, the concern is, though, and what's going on is that the administration is consolidating power under themselves. And the problem is they're consolidating power under themselves, and why isn't anyone supervising those conflicts of interest? Because he strategically fired the people that were involved in investigating it. In fact, some of the fines, there was the head person in the FAA, there was $600,000 that was one of the, because they're concerned about safety being an issue if we're putting astronauts in those rocket ships. And so they wanted to go, hey, you need to respond to this. We want to make sure that safety is very important. And then he retaliated and fired the people involved. Anyone that even touched those.
You're talking about OIGs, or what's known as the Office of the Inspector General, which he did fire a bunch of people. But that's not unheard of. Ronald Reagan, in his first week in office, fired 15 inspectors general.
But what's different is people have been dying because people are. The FAA is understaffed.
I mean, how do we know that Reagan's cuts? Hold on. How do we know that Reagan's cuts didn't result in any deaths? Number one, right? Like,
wait, hold on, Marshall. I don't think that's. Hold on. I don't quite think that's the right framework. Whether or not Reagan's cuts did this, I think about.
Yeah, no, that's.
Yeah,
fair.
hold on, just a second. So, Faith, I think you were about to say people are dying, and you said because Marshall jumped in.
Look at just in the past few weeks, how many times have we had accidents? It's because they sat there and rather than doing anything surgical. Hold on just a second, Faith. First of all, this isn't how like safety and any of our institutions that are meant to make sure safety is basically the priority for these people. It doesn't work in the way that you're trying to imply. Like in the same way that we cannot assume that because there was a woman piloting a plane that's why it crashed. We can't assume that because there were changes in the FAA that's why there was a crash. These things have to be investigated. Hold on, Faith. Honest to God, you just hold on a second. I think that something else too, which I don't know. I have no idea, but there are a lot of crashes all the time, especially with smaller planes. I don't know if there have been real increases over the last, let's say, 2 months or even month. I don't know. The last I saw was that there hadn't been, but there have been more crashes reported since then. I do think the fact that these are on the radar is making it so that we're seeing many more. They go a little more viral. But do you know something different? Yes, because I've been also joining different groups that have they actually post the data. They started accumulating all the federal people that have quit, and there are people that have come out and spoken out. It's like, oh yeah, that's because we had 3 people assigned to that duty during the office hours, and now they have it cut to 1 or 2. Basically, they just cut so many people. So then basically the amount of people that are supposed to supervise the role that had been successfully making sure that people stay safe, they had been cutting that down, and now we have all these accidents.
Yeah, but I think Kelly's right about her statement, which is you can't assume with only one point of data that they're inextricably linked. I have a little brother who works on Capitol Hill, and he works on the Senate, he works in commerce, and his portfolio is specifically airlines. I actually asked him, have the cuts endangered air safety welfare, like people getting on planes in the United States? Under no condition, he said, have these cuts played into that kind of safety stuff. In fact, several interviews with the Delta CEO and several other CEOs said rightfully that their crashes had nothing to do with the Federal Aviation Commission. Look, I'm with Kelly. I don't think criticizing the way Elon Musk is operating is a bad thing. I mean, there's obviously some stuff we should check, but I do want to say there are more rules that he has to follow than people are giving credit for. Like I said, his business ventures, he has to be overseen by a certain group of people as what's known as a special government employee. That's actually, when I say special government employee, SGE, it's an actual government designation. He's allowed to hold the position for 100 more days, and then he has to be moved around or hired in some capacity. But these rules, they still exist. They're still being enforced. Right? Like I said, his business, his conflict of interest stuff in business is one of those things that there is a federal agency supposed to oversee him. Now, unless what happens in the next 3 months is that this agency just doesn't enforce any of the rules on Elon Musk, which, for those worrying that he's getting rid of all the watchdogs, right? That I would imagine that would be a worry.
Marshall, just keep it brief. Just make sure you land quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need to keep our eye on the fact that as much as we are worried about potential abuses, we don't have a long enough timeline to know whether the agencies will enforce or not enforce.
Yeah, and Faith has Elon arrangements and.
Yeah, I think. Well, you know what? That's not very. Hold on. I think that's unfair. Hold on. Okay. Right. Okay. So, I think that's unfair to say, and it's also not going to be helpful to the conversation agent. But also, in faith, I just wanted to say, if you wanted to reply, go ahead. Monica will get you right after that. I had to mute you because there was a bunch of background noise, so that's the only reason.
Hello, guys. Can I say something?
Hold on just a sec.
I just want to say that we should not be allowing people to troll. I'm respectful. I don't call names at people and say, "Oh,
Okay,
you have a
Faith, here's the thing. Nobody's asking people to troll, but sometimes people are going to make stupid comments, and I just asked them not to. This isn't really a space where you being that sensitive is going to matter. It is what it is. I asked him not to do it anymore. If he disrupts the stage, he'll be gone. But I also am not interested in you having an outburst.
Oh, hello, guys. I'm from Russia, and on battlefield, sometimes we use Starlinks. They work fine for us. And I don't know why you have hatred towards Elon Musk or something like this. And we actually using his Starlinks in a line of battle where the coverage of Starlink is present there. So yeah, like it works very good there.
Well, really quickly, I wanna get Monica in. She was trying to speak, and again, we're gonna say popcorn. But just to reply to that, I think that this conversation has a lot more to do with Elon's role in government right now. So anybody who thinks that Starlink doesn't work or that Elon's space shuttle catcher thing doesn't, whatever, that's really a separate point. But I appreciate you jumping in and saying that. But Monica.
Hey, I'm mainly in the chat right now, Kelly, and there's like comments being posted and then deleted super quickly, and I can't follow the chat. I don't know if the people writing them are deleting them or if a moderator.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys will have to work that out in the chat. I will say this: I would prefer that the moderators not delete things, especially that can be reported. If they're being deleted because they're inappropriate, maybe we should allow people to report them. But I'm not going to twist anyone's arm.
Thanks, Kelly. And then, Kelly, I have a silly question, if you'll tolerate it. I've been asking people what their level of trust is on a scale of 1 to 10 for Elon Musk. So 1 is you want to metaphorically set him on fire, and 10 is you want to have his baby. What's your level of trust with Elon Musk right now, Kelly?
I don't even know how to answer that question.
Anyone else want to answer it? Agent?
I want to answer.
I'm done.
I want to answer.
I'll go just short of a 10. I'll go to a 9.
A 2 out of 10. 2.
A 0 out of 10.
You know what? I think he's doing a fabulous job. I love how he's coming in. It's just, sweeping out the white trash. No, I'm sorry, the black trash. I'm going to give him an honest 10. He's doing a fabulous job. Keep up the good work, Elon. Do God's work. That's what I love it. I love that South African energy.
But look, and all these guys, David Sachs, Peter Thiel, their goal, one of their main goals was, you see what they did with South Africa, right? Trump didn't even know what South Africa was. And what did they do? Hey, we're going to give these farmers who were getting killed refugee status, not asylum status, refugee status, to come over here. Like, it's so crazy, and what they're doing is so sinister, and they're moving Trump. Trump just has no interest in running the government. That's why he brought Elon Musk in. He doesn't know what he's doing. All these other guys that are yes men to him. Even the Republicans in Congress, and how Marshall said, well, they can't touch your Social Security. Mike Johnson just put it with Bill today, well, we're going to try to give tax cuts and all this mess. So Marshall is not exactly true. They're already trying to do stuff. So,
how the Palestinians have their own
sovereignty,
here's what I think is strange.
It's one thing. Hold on, it's one thing to complain about what you think is outside of their prerogative or the law, but it's a whole other thing to then be upset about a proposed bill. Now, I think we all know that there are plenty of bills that don't go anywhere, but this is what gives credibility to people who respond saying this isn't an issue with the administration or them taking liberties
whether they are legal or not. That's not what the issue is here for anyone. Those aren't the questions people are asking. You just don't like Elon. You don't like Republicans. You don't like what they're doing. And when you use when you take a measure that's being proposed and then you complain about that, I get it. You may not politically like it. You may not like the direction that Republicans are going, but are you now complaining that they're putting a bill forward? Because I thought that the issue before was that Congress wasn't involved.
No, I'm saying, but the people in Georgia who had these town halls, a lot of people are complaining about it, so apparently they think it's real. I mean, it doesn't necessarily affect me per se, but I'm saying, like, this is the kind of stuff that they want to do. Hey, you're right, it may not pass, but again, these are the kind of stuff that they're talking about. Because what do they want to do? They want to pass a large tax cuts for the wealthy and give the regular people, quote unquote, a $5,000 check or whatever, and to pacify people. They're trying to install their loyalists and everything because, hey, they want to say, hey, look the other way, and we're going to run roughshod over the government, and we're going to steal all the money we can. It's all a smoke.
Well, maybe the thing that you would like then is for Congress to pass a bill that completely changes what is legally the right of the executive to do. I mean, I think if there are things happening that are outside of the rights of the administration, those things should go through the courts. I completely agree that anything that is of issue should be dealt with. But I don't know, like, it just seems like what people are upset about isn't necessarily that they actually think that what's going on is wrong. They just disagree with it.
I don't think what did Trump say? He said, I am the law. He basically said, I am the law, judge your age now, right? He basically kind of said that, right? So he's not even trying to respect the courts. A lot of people are taking him to courts now and everything. So he kind of said,
he literally is respecting the courts by letting what the court says stand as how he is running his administration. He is not getting directives from federal courts and going, nah, fuck you, I'm not doing that.
That's not what Holton said, Marshall. He didn't say that.
He argued that he was not accountable. My point is,
he literally said he's not respecting the courts, which I don't think is true. He's even said he will respect the courts. I think comments have been made that people absolutely can be critical of. But, I mean, Joe Biden said he liked ice cream. Does that mean we should apply that to every single decision Joe Biden made? I mean, he was incoherent a lot of the time, and the same people complaining now that Trump is making jokes about being king weren't really concerned that they didn't even know who was running the country. Like, I think that we can be honest and be concerned about some of these things, and we can be critical of them, but we also have to stick to reality. Like, why is that so difficult?
That's not what Holton said.
When y'all keep calling Joe Biden
that he's not
running the country, it's crazy. And I didn't say that. I said, Trump said he wasn't he said, hey, I am the law, you know, hey, whatever. He still ain't stopped the payments that were supposed to stop.
He can say that till the cows come home.
Kelly, can I call for an ISO with Norm?
Just hold on. He can say that shit all.
Hold on, and I'm about to be removed from the room, Marshall.
Monica, I'm not sure what's going on here, but Marshall was speaking.
The point is, he can't do that shit. And unless you think Donald Trump can magically teleport his authority into that of an emperor, then there is no scenario in the recent future that deals with that. So what? Donald Trump says that shit. I don't like it. I think it's dumb. But it's not like it means anything. It's not like, to be frank, it has any plenary power whatsoever. It doesn't redirect things. Donald Trump is saying dumb shit because sometimes the man says dumb shit.
And you voted
for
that.
In the framework,
That's not my point. My point is when he says things like "I'm a king" or "I am the law," it should be appropriately scorned because it doesn't matter what he says. There is no court or Congress in the land that would support such an interpretation of the office of president. I will tell you, to be very frank, the thing about the first month of the Trump administration that has irritated me the most is the number of Democrats who all of a sudden managed to pick up oh my gosh, government is too powerful, holy shit, when what it really is people going, no, when my guys got it, it's great. When your guys got it, he's a dictator. Now, don't get me wrong. Each side of the political aisle does that, and here's the consequence of doing that for 200 and some odd years. The office of the president has grown into something known as the imperial presidency. The executive is extremely powerful. So, if people really believe that Donald Trump shouldn't have power, then here's a really good question. Why, during the Biden administration, did the Biden administration not try to give back executive authority to Congress? Because we would all agree that Congress has abdicated its authority over the last 35 to 40 years by letting the executive promulgate more and more agencies that grow government larger and larger because Congress is unwilling to do its job.
I'm not trying to start rumors, but I'm
unwilling to force Congress to do its job. So the executive grows and grows and grows and gets ever more powerful.
So they can't talk
And
about what he's
the
doing.
political fights that are had are,
SBR
well, your
type
guy
thing
has
for,
it, so now it's really
Saudi
shitty.
Wealth Fund or
When
something.
my guy had it, it was tight and we were following all the laws. And the problem with that is it doesn't deal with what people say is their underlying issue, which is why I really don't think it's an issue.
But I think you're not dealing with
about
reality,
executive
No,
power.
Marshall, I think we've got it. Go ahead and land this.
Yeah, and I'm done.
Marshall, I think you're not dealing with reality, though. I mean, you're talking about somebody who's joking about being a king or being a dictator. Biden did say, well, for example, the student loans, when Supreme Court shut it down, he said, I'm going to follow the rules of the Supreme Court. He didn't go in and say, whatever. That's what Trump is kind of doing. Elon is running roughshod.
That is the exact
he already
opposite
moved them
of
around
what
here.
the Trump
Let me
administration
finish
has actually done.
Yeah, the whole tirade.
Literally the opposite.
No,
the courts have checked them, and they have responded accordingly to the court's directives.
Marshall, hold on just a second.
Anyways, but he's letting Elon run roughshod and just cut stuff. And you're right, Marshall. Congress has abdicated their responsibility. Why? Because we have a Republican Congress, and all of them are scared. That's why they nominated a lot of these crazy nominees. They're scared because they know they're going to be primary and money's going to be put behind their candidate. So they're saying, well, we're not going to do. Even the people who disagree with what Trump is doing, Elon is doing, they say, hey, we're scared to get out of office. So I'm agreeing with you on the point that, hey, yes, Congress is not doing anything. The Republican Congress, they're scared shitless about losing their jobs. So we're in agreement on that. But at the same time, Trump is setting a framework for his Project 2025, their agenda. And Elon Musk just grifting off the government.
You mean Donald Trump is using the power
Marshall, hold on. Marshall. You guys, both of you, let's other people get in.
Can I just alert I'd like to alert the moderators to the fact that there's a gentleman named Wisdom down in and that is, he's live streaming the room. That is Edmonds.
Oh, hi, Edmund.
Edmund, whatever.
Edmund.
The problem with computer science has always been we had the ability to build the hardware, but we didn't have the software to be able to run the hardware correctly because we were still trying to keep up with it because we were writing it down manually. We were doing it like the old school style. But with now the advent of AI being able to propagate new code, based on a set of parameters and make use of the chip, and it understands the structure of the chip, and it'll be able to code the pathways for that kind of control for a specific output, I don't know.
Are we creating a god? A super power?
Are we creating a god?
God? Do you think it's going to become a god?
No. God, because he's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. The thing that when you think about technology, you can only think of it as a God, but only in the end, because technology like that wasn't in the beginning. So it's not God.
It's not God. But we are trying
But
to find
everything is God.
I already know where he is.
Oh, really? Okay, that's nice.
Yes, he lives in my heart.
Lives in your heart. Okay.
Sometimes he takes a vacation and I become an asshole.
Yeah, I want to say that I have seen the agape in Don's heart. He is a good man, but if you think we are creating God, I mean, you don't know what God is. God is everything, but maybe if we do create something and it is part of the everything, that is part of God, but it is not God. Part of God.
Okay.
Yeah, but in India, isn't like Ganesh supposed to be like everything? Because I had an Indian friend one time told me, he said like, yeah, Ganesh is that fence post, and I'm like, what?
But the fence post is like a pole. So above and below is above. So maybe he was right. And Ganesha is essentially math. So if you know the formula, you know the truth of the earth.
Bro, you just totally turned Mexican. You lose.
I'm sorry, sir. I am not from Mexico.
Man, kalkatam hoje gyan.
Tarimani bos panchot soltenas hogya kurte. So stupid.
Man, and they are kind of built different. I think they got a tougher life than a lot of us. And so, man, it's just the proof is in the pudding. They are dominating the UFC and these mixed martial arts, fighting champion legends.
And they're also fucking poor, man.
Yeah. Fighting dominating. I never bet against. So if you do online betting, guys, like sports betting, I just say don't ever bet against a Russian, a Georgian, a Chechen, or a Dagestani. Just don't bet against them. Even if they're from the Middle East.
I feel like right now UFC is dominated by Dagestan niggas. They're dominated.
Sasha, what did you say? Sasha, what did you say? Sasha, what did you say?
I said, were you asking me about chess earlier in this room, or was it someone else?
I think it was someone else. That was Jacobus.
Yeah, Jacobus.
But Jacobus, what did you want? Serious people don't stop speaking.
Jacobus said he heard that you beat Huey yesterday. He wants to play you.
We can play, but I beat Huey and then he cheated.
I know, he always cheats. I'm Jewish.
I think we proved that with AI yesterday. We were talking about it. It was saying how it was just highly unlikely, even with a grandmaster champion, to lose 3 times and all of a sudden have 99%. It was pretty funny. So anyway,
I'm not too far.
New day though.
Jacobus, add me on Leeches. My username is Sasha underscore.
Cool. I'm not too far from apartment.
No, I don't like the layout.
Oh, you're a scammer. I don't play scam.
What? Alright, that's fine.
Hey, Sasha, where are you from? You sound like someone from Dagestan.
I'm from Poland.
Like I said, Dagestan. No, I'm just saying you all sound the same. So.
Yeah, likewise.
Yes, Africans do sound the same.
Sasha, should we bring back the Poland-Lithuania Empire? Should we Poland?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, cool.
I don't think it's really needed given the presence of the European Union.
I'll take you to...
Do you know
European Union is sucking right now, dude. Germany used to be the leader and now they're fucking up. Like, you know, they're letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry in their country, and they pursued these green policies, which basically destroyed their economy. The electricity is like 4 times the amount that it is in America, you know, because they pursue these green policies so hard. They shut down their nuclear, you know. Fuck that.
Well, a lot of them are using actually more efficient energy than we are, like the windmills and stuff. Their power.
That shit doesn't work. No, that's stupid. Doesn't
Yeah,
work.
it doesn't. 4 times more. Doctor, it's 4 times more for the cost of electricity in Germany than it is in America.
Yeah, but
I don't think they're doing that in Germany.
Are you just gonna leave out the part where the Nord Stream 2 got blown up?
I just wanted to mention that they literally blow it up.
Americans blow it up.
Yeah,
you blew it up. You blew it up in the CIA. You blew.
Capitalists.
You're loud as hell.
Let me meditate on the purpose.
It really is.
So look, the energy prices in Germany were just fine until we blew up the Nord Stream 2, and that caused them to no longer be able to import gas from Russia, which is why the prices went through the roof.
We were talking about electricity, buddy. We weren't talking about
Yeah,
gas.
Guy, how do you think electricity is generated? Do you think they burn their own farts? Is that how you think that works?
From coal too, and gas. But I'm just saying.
Yes. Yeah. So
Not just from gas. Like, can we stop?
Germany is generating the vast majority of their electricity from coal now out of a mine called the Garsweiler 2 mine. And this is a particular type of coal called lignite coal. Lignite coal is such a poor quality of coal that they have to import better coal from other places to begin the process of burning this lignite. Guy, I'm going to run circles around you on energy policy.
Guys, I want to push just a comment against someone.
That's bullshit.
I've been there.
Yo, who wants to play my
I don't care. I've been to America. I live here.
Send me a link. What's on Dingus Moon?
It's bullshit.
On Dingus Moon. No.
Oh my God.
Just post a link in the chat. Okay.
Hi, Eric.
Long story short, it's a steam generator. Either it's gas or coal, it's a steam generator. Yes.
If they would have let Tesla live, he knew how to get us.
Mainly coal, though.
Tesla knew how to get us free energy, so they shouldn't have killed that guy.
There's no such thing as free energy, just basic science.
Here we go. You want to be white so bad? Come on, white boy. Tell me why there's no such thing as free energy.
Some laws of conservation. There's no such thing as free energy.
Go ahead. No, he wants to be white so bad. He does what white people
You're allowed. You're allowed. We accept you. You can join white if you want. You're in. You're in the club.
You're in the club because you think nothing should be free. Yeah, let's go.
There's no such thing as free energy.
Yeah, that's why we pay for water too. Water? We're paying for grape?
You pay for access to water. Some pole,
here we go. We pay for the access to water. Wait, shut the fuck up. Hold on 1 second. Do you know if I own property on a public waterway, I can never own access to that water? I just have the property, right? But you never own a public waterway because of the white people. You know, nothing's free unless you public.
Don't try to explain physics.
Oh my God, is Jimmy trying to speak? You better let Jimmy speak. Go on, Jimmy.
I was just curious. To Dr. Jasmine Love. Hey, Jasmine Love. Do you know how hard it is to find clean, drinkable water?
I'm in America. It's not hard. I live in Florida. It's something called Zephyr Hills. If you can find a natural spring, you have clean drinking water, especially if it has aquaports.
And white people are stealing.
So in Africa, it might be very hard. Hold on. In Africa, it might be very, very hard to find clean drinking water.
It's not easy in North and Eastern Montana. That's for sure. It's not easy to find water. You have to drill for your own water.
In Georgia, 1 second. I'm almost done. in Georgia, they also have natural springs flowing with water straight out the ground with ice cold water.
Jesse, natural springs occur everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Jimmy,
But he asked a question.
Jimmy, do you have a hammer? Jimmy?
No, I don't have. No, not on.
Go to Home Depot, buy a hammer, hit your dick with it, it'd be way better.
Awesome.
No shit though, because it's not free. It's not free. You have to drill for it in Eastern Montana. Hold on.
11:42 a.m. and I don't want to start cursing at people and calling them fucking idiots. So if you could kindly stop interrupting.
Thanks.
Pretty sure she was done.
Jasmine, do you presume that the water will never, ever, the clean water, will never, ever run out? Or would you presume that there's a limited supply of this clean
See,
water?
what you're doing is what white people do. I can tell you're African and you've moved from the continent, or you were born in a different space.
No, I'm not African. I was born in New York. I just have an education.
No, so you don't. So where's your mom and dad from?
Education.
Yeah, I have an education.
Where's your mom and dad
know
from?
These things, you know.
Where's your mom and dad from?
The planet Earth.
Yeah, they're not from America. I can tell because once again, you're preaching white people nonsense. Yes, we know that, but if that's the case, why do white people take resources from everybody else's land except the one in the country that they're in? So I hear what you're saying, but
she said white people don't.
Jimmy, do you remember the thing I said about the hammer in your dick?
Yeah, you're asking me a question that doesn't match. You're saying,
I know.
Will it ever run out? Will my money ever run out? Yes, that's why I keep going to work.
So will clean water.
That's why I keep going to work, Jimmy. You're asking me dumbass questions, and I actually refuse to answer the next one.
I'm trying to help you make sense.
I refuse to answer any more questions from Jimmy. Thank you.
If someone else wants to answer, they can.
No, I mean, she was the only one that's confused as to why anything has a dollar value.
No, but what I'm telling you is things used to be, for example, tulips were a form of currency at one point. Now you're saying a dollar value. No, things have value.
No, a value.
No, things have, you said dollar value, though. I'm going on what you said.
Any value, yes.
Things have value regardless of if you're going to pay for them or not. The thing is, you want to be white people have put a dollar value on things.
I don't know what white people have to do.
Excuse me, I'm almost done. Want to be white, black-ass African motherfuckers, right? You put dollar values on things that don't make sense, which is why your own countries that you leave are in shambles.
Wait.
You haven't even applied the capitalist model in the proper way.
Are you? I don't understand. Look, do you
and then we decided to charge everybody.
Improve the education.
Are you aware that it was called the slave trade?
Are you aware you're overeducated with no common sense?
It was called the slave trade because
you have no common
also wanted to make money.
Hey, stop flexing those books you read and use your brain. Use your brain and think about what you're asking me. Use your brain.
I tried to
think about what you're asking me.
clear the floor for you to be able to speak, Doctor. So when other people are speaking, if you could kindly allow them to.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I'm curious to understand why you think only white people care about money.
That's not what I think. I never said that. So once again, your education's failing you. I didn't say that.
All right.
We all care about money. I said I keep going to work so my money doesn't run out. You asked me about resources running out. I said that's why I keep working. The earth reproduces resources all the time. The fact that a white man thinks they know the timeline of when it will stop producing those resources is weird. It hasn't stopped for thousands of years. I don't think it's going to stop now. Okay. That's just I look at history. I don't look at education. I look at history and I say, hey, this happened for this long. Maybe it'll keep on happening. Hello? Did it stop at some point? I'm not done speaking. Jimmy. Hey, I'm still speaking, Jimmy.
You cut out, so I
okay, I'm sorry. But if I look at historical context and I say, hey, the earth has never stopped producing water. Mm-hmm. Right? So, I mean, how can I put a timeline on it? What evidence do I have?
Do you believe in property ownership?
I'm almost done. What evidence do I... Yes. What evidence? It's not clear. It's not cleared and it has no land.
I don't know.
Jimmy, she's trying to answer your question.
What the fuck?
I didn't hear her. I don't know if that's me.
It is you.
Yeah, it's you.
Oh, my bad. I didn't hear anything.
Don't worry about it.
Really?
I actually refuse to answer any questions. I'm going to stick to that mantra. I'm going to mute. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. I really didn't hear you. But I saw that you were off mute, but I didn't hear you.
It happens to me, too.
This fucking grok is sweet, man. I was asking about Germany and their electrical usage. It said 62.7% of Germany's electricity is made up by renewables. That's why it's 4 times as much. But wind power is our single largest source with 33%. But coal and natural gas are still used but are declining, with coal being 23% and natural gas being 9.5% in 2024. So, I mean, so Germany does have renewables making up most of their energy, but their energy is 4 times as much, which is bullshit. I mean, it shouldn't be that much, but, you know, I think it eventually could go down, but for it to be 4 times as much seems kind of fucking bizarre. I would be so much
Asking what the natural gas
and coal. Natural gas and coal is cheaper because it's just,
Zariah.
Oftentimes,
Look at that.
we'll
Which car is
hear,
that?
like, the way that other countries are taxed, only to find out that they don't have to pay for anything else.
Like, whoa.
And I don't know if that's an appropriate trade-off, but
I'm like, so that was her
I'm just trying to
right?
gauge whether this is everything 4 times as much. Is it there? Is it just?
Well, if you look their fuel, so they go by the liter for fuel there, and I was looking just recently in Germany. So they go by the liter, and there's about 3.74 liters in a gallon. And if it goes, so per gallon, they're paying about $8 per gallon for fuel. I mean, that's for gasoline. For diesel, I think it's a little bit more. And so, no, things are not cheaper. That's why they have such big protests going on. I mean, things have gotten out of control in Germany.
The 4 times figure that he's talking about, is post-Ukraine. When the Ukraine war kicked off, their prices went through the roof because the Nord Stream 2 came down, and just energy is just expensive across Europe generally.
Well, it wasn't just Ukraine. But he has also cheated gas is only making 9.5% of their electricity.
Well, yeah. But again, hold on. Mountain, 9.5% in 2024. Google what that was in, let's say, 2019.
Okay.
And I would agree, shutting off their nuke plants was really stupid. They really shouldn't have shut off their nuke plants.
Yeah, but clearly they were forced to do that, right?
They weren't forced to do that. Angela Merkel, she wanted to do that. That's what I'm saying. It's not because of Ukraine. It's because Angela Merkel wanted to switch over to renewables and wanted to get rid of fossil fuels. It's not fossil fuels, by the way, but she wanted to get rid of coal, gas, and nuclear, and they wanted to be reliant on renewables. She pushed this shit, guys. That's why they're stuck. That's why people need to just go
a puppet government, because remember, Germany is a coalition government, so the puppet that was chosen was forced by BlackRock to shut down the most energy-dense energy source so that they can give all these contractors to get all this money for building all this renewable energy and literally convince the world that this is about grid. This is just a contract, man. This, at best, is corruption. That's why they shut that thing down. It's corruption. Because look at the contractors that build the renewable facilities. Look at the contractors. That's who funds your parliamentarians. I see this over here where I live. There's no such thing as, I want renewable, whatever. Renewable can never replace as a base load. It does not have enough energy density to do that. Because I'll ask you this right now, Morten. Show me a factory today that is running on renewable. Fuck a country.
Listen, I agree with you. Listen, I agree with you. I'm with you, buddy. I agree with you, man.
There are 2 sources.
Does not have the energy density.
There are 2 sources that have more than enough energy density. There's geothermal and there's hydro. Those are very fucking good sources of renewable energy. But I don't buy into the conspiracy theories, the theory that you have. I think ESG is just another way for a certain class of people, mostly government class, to make a shit ton of money via stealth taxes and etc. But yeah, that's another story.
Yeah, I mean, she clearly said the same thing. I mean, even with hydro, the thing about hydro is that it's based on location. So, I mean, I don't know the landscape of Germany, but the reality is you can't just plant them anywhere. So, yeah, absolutely. It's one of the lowest local cost of energy. Actually, it's based on location and also rainfall within that area. So, I mean, look, I honestly, it's just
Jamaica was the first country with lights. Just let that sink in. Jamaica was the first country with power. I'm gonna go on mute.
You know, and it's sad that Germany, bro, because you know all the innovations Germans have done, and they're letting all these corporations destroy their notion. I'm talking about Germany.
Wait.
I'm talking about Germany.
Wait. Lights were literally invented in America. What do we shit?
Oh, well, I think you should do a quick Google search.
Don't debate edgy logic, man. Don't entertain it.
I think you're dumb. Jamaica was the first country with power.
Fine. This lady talked about free energy. And you want to debate it?
He's like 5.
When she said free energy, I gave up.
Black country that gives out free water and free energy. Are they doing that in Nigeria or Jamaica?
I just wanted to say real quick that irony is some of the best countries for renewables are like Saudi Arabia, right? Because it's sunny all the time. They're having huge success with solar in Saudi Arabia. Doesn't really work for Germany, though.
It's not good. Look, the carbon footprint to develop solar panels is far worse than the like coal power plants and all the other shit that they're trying to offset. It's all retarded. It's extremely high capex. Your return on investment is garbage. If it wasn't for like a carbon credit system and maybe, tax fucking benefits, which can go away any day, all of these things would be fucking running at a loss. And it's stupid.
Well, but that depends on like the usage, right? On how much you have to store. So like in countries where it's sunny all the time, then you don't store as much solar energy because you don't need as much battery capacity, because you don't need to you don't need to worry about peaks that are as high or troughs that are as deep. And you're able to get more energy out of your capital investment. So that's why it can work somewhere. But the irony is that it's in major petroleum producing countries, basically. There and like the Southwest, right? Arizona, parts of Texas.
Yeah.
It can work there.
It's the offset. So because
10.5% still, Gar.
Because of the ESG policies, places that, produce, sell, or in the business of, products that pollute, they need to offset. It's mandated. It's forced upon them. So they're not building these because it works. They're building these because they have to. It's actually pretty fucked up.
Well, I'm not gonna say that you're wrong. I think they probably would just build nuclear, but the programs are moderately successful in those places.
Most of the renewables that are built in Germany are built by the same companies that are doing the coal mining.
Still, Gar, I was going to say.
They're legally required to offset. RVA is the big energy company in the Northwest. And they build all the coal plants as well as the windmills. But Germans also have a significantly lower kilowatt per hour usage in the home too. They use less energy than most of us here in the U.S. do. Air conditioners are basically unicorns. You don't really see them anywhere. The construction standards are much, much higher in Germany, so buildings are made more energy efficient, both old ones and new ones. And they use like better technology. Most German homes aren't using like old tanked water heaters. They use tankless. They use heat pumps instead of like oil furnaces or natural gas furnaces. They just use less energy per household.
But they cost a lot though. Still, like that. I mean, there's lots of people that are in the streets, man, who are protesting the cost of everyday things in Germany. But I was saying, I looked it up in 2019. I just go to Grok. Grok is X's new AI. It's really good. And there's two different types of searching you could do. But anyway, it just says, man, that in 2019 it was 10.5% for electrical usage. So they might have went down a percentage, for electrical production from gas, after Ukraine. But I'm telling you, man, it's because of Angela Merkel's policies. These green policies have made Germany's electrical costs skyrocket.
It's really not the green policies, though. It's largely the war in Ukraine that caused the energy crisis. I mean, if just some Googling in that regard, you'll find it. And again, that percentage point drop, take a look at the price difference. Look at the cubic foot price of natural gas in 2019 that Germans were paying as compared to what they're paying now.
So you're talking about heating their homes, man, because people heat their homes with natural gas too. That's what they use it for mainly. That's because it's energy dense,
it's used for a bunch of stuff.
Mainly used for heating their homes.
It's used for vehicles even. Compressed natural gas can be used in public transit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
A lot of their
trains seconds to fill up
over there.
Cool.
And then, of course, their power plant generation was happening largely with natural gas, and now they've had to go back to coal. And look, I agree that shutting down the power plants, the nuclear power plants, and getting off of nuclear was one of the biggest mistakes they could have made. And it's, I think, the biggest mistake in U.S. energy policy. The fact that we're not building more nuke plants is going to put us 10 or 20 years behind the rest of the world.
Yeah. But did you hear that they are still, guard? They're actually funding. It started last year. They're trying to build more places we can refine the resources, because a lot of times we're importing resources because we don't have the refineries or the power.
Well, yeah, we don't have the capacity to refine most of our energy exports, so we export raw materials rather than finished products. That's true. Nuke energy is going to have to become more popular just because of the AI revolution. Like Microsoft and companies like them are buying up warehouses, football throws away from nuclear power plants. It's sucking up all that power.
Don't believe the headlines, bro. I'm actually in that specific industry.
Only Jimmy knows everything.
Well, wait, what about the headlines should I not believe? Is there something I'm missing?
No. Never. But yeah, I'm in the hyperscale data center industry. And so so a lot of, we're talking about nuclear, but the thing is, it's been so long since we've actually developed a nuclear plant that that essentially the last people that did build one have died a long time ago. There's no one.
Well, no,
I'm not easy, is it? I heard it's not easy.
I'm not saying we're actively developing nuclear infrastructure. I'm just saying that Microsoft is attempting to buy entire nuke plants. They put in a bid to buy 3 Mile Island because of the power demands that they're going to have. So this is naturally going to increase the demand for power. And I think obviously, given the state of non-renewables, nuke is going to be kind of the big thing. Once everybody gets their head out of their ass, I'm sure we're going to start moving in that direction. But at the current state,
yeah, but 3 Mile Island isn't ready to go right now. It isn't 3
Mile Island's been producing since their.
It's got its uranium. It's got its systems. It's not. They have to develop it.
Well, multiple reactors at 3 Mile Island have been in production since their accident.
Yes,
which was the late 90s.
The lead time is absolutely atrocious. So right now, if I wanted to do a combined cycle nat gas, which is what we're doing right now in East Arkansas, if you ordered a turbine, you're waiting 18 months.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, I mean, it's going to take us a decade to get caught up to the demand. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, nuclear, the problem with, I guess, beside China, is that it just really takes too long. I think anyone, to be honest, Jimmy, can really build the most generic, let me say, water pressured generators, right? But water pressured nuclear reactors. But the problem is time, man. I think it takes a long time. Unless you use China. China tends to be able to do it in 5 years. So just bring the Chinese over to build your plant.
We can't. This is the thing. We can't, and that's actually against the law.
It's not what.
It's because of approvals. It's not because they know how to build them better than we know how to build them.
It's regulatory red tape,
Yeah, it's regulatory.
It's more than regulatory. It's a national security risk because they're fucking pieces of shit.
True.
So like, for example, Huawei puts all kinds of devices so they can spy on us. So we can't even use Chinese products, really.
Yo, let me read something real quickly, guys. Hold on, still not.
That was the rationale behind the whole NDAA.
I just want to read something to you. This is 1 second here. I want to read something. This is really fast. It says this, okay. High electrical costs in Germany stem from a mix of factors tied to its energy policies and market dynamics. The country's push for renewable energy, known as Energiewende, plays a big role to shift away from fossil fuels and nuclear power. Germany has heavily subsidized wind, solar, and other renewables. These subsidies are funded through a surcharge on electricity bills called the EEG levy, which households and small businesses pay. Even though this levy has dropped some in recent years due to its policy tweaks, it still adds a noticeable chunk to its price. Then there's the phase out of nuclear power after the Fukushima meltdown in 2011. Germany decided to shut down all of its nuclear plants by 2022, removing a cheap, stable energy source. This forced more reliance on renewables, which can be inconsistent. Wind doesn't blow, and the sun doesn't always shine. To fill the gaps, Germany sometimes leans on expensive backup systems like gas plants, or imports energies from its neighbors, often at a premium. Taxes and grid fees all pile on, and about half the electricity price for German households comes from government taxes like VAT and levies for maintaining and upgrading the power grid. The grid itself needs costly expansions to handle decentralized renewable sources spread across the country, unlike the old centralized coal and nuclear setups. Supply and demand dynamics have gotten messier lately too. Europe's energy crisis, kicked off by Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, slashed natural gas supplies, spiking prices for gas-generated electricity. Germany lacking in its own big... So all of us, so we're both right, though. So we're both right, for sure. But
I wasn't disagreeing with you in the beginning. It was just missing the Nord Stream 2 going down, and the energy crisis caused by the Ukraine war is like a big chunk of that problem. It's a huge chunk of that problem. Otherwise, the problem that you're talking about is present. But the problem you're talking about is present all across the EU and can't really just be pointed directly at
That's true as well. It has to do with Greens. Yeah, I mean Angela is just doing what the Greens wanted, basically.
Okay, great. She's long gone now. It's Olaf Scholz that's in charge.
Yes, exactly. So it's really about that political.
I go to Germany like 3 times a year.
I think you're missing the point, Malcolm. When you're trying to pin it on Angela, if Angela had not been there, someone else would have done the same thing. The political pressures would be the same.
Especially
and so, yes, exactly. So you're like trying to talk about this one person, but that's like not what the issue is.
Basically, BlackRock forced them to do that.
Hello?
No, they didn't.
What the hell is this guy talking about?
No, they set out on that road. Hey, Malcolm, you have a lot of echo. So if you could mute, thank you. Yeah, so I would just say
put a link in the back channel for the Garzweiler mine. You guys should really check this out if you're interested in energy policy in Germany.
Yeah, they went down that direction a long time ago in Europe.
Germany looks like a lot of government taxes, seems like, from what that guy just read. The government is making the prices really, really high for it.
I mean, if they had plenty of energy, it wouldn't matter how high the tax is if the base price is low, okay? Or, I mean, it would, but it would have to be an astronomically high tax. And the problem is they have restricted their own supply of energy through so many different ridiculous policies.
Yeah, because
they're starving an industrial economy for energy. This makes no sense. You want as much energy as you can get.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Unless maybe they're trying to get away from being mass manufacturers. I mean, if that's the case, they're trying to do that. I could see that as a working thing. But the thing is, you're not America, man. Not like you sell as much software and whatnot. So I also don't know why they did that. But I could see that if that would make sense if you're not like a manufacturing hub.
They did it because they wanted to try to appease the greenies, like you said, and and try to be an example. Because Germany is kind of, they're the economic powerhouse of Europe. They try to set an example, and I think that's, they let a woman. No offense to the women in here, but they let a woman be prime minister, and it fucked the country up, man. I mean,
their country's been messed up.
Stop with that. That man would have done the same thing, guys.
Like she had messed it up before, didn't she?
You're right. So, but I mean, you're right, because there's a lot of leftists. I mean, there's a different type of leftism over there. Even the conservatives over there are pretty left wing if they came over here. It's a different
I don't think it has anything to do with right or left wing, and I think it has to do with money. Like if you're involved in green energy, you're gonna promote this. You're gonna pay politicians. You're gonna lobby. That's why we need to curb lobbying. A lot of people are paying their way to get things that we know aren't good. A lot of these politicians know this shit isn't good for us. Yeah, I think
she cut out for everybody else too.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Yes, you did.
Dazzy, something's up with your phone, or your microphone, or your internet.
Yeah, doctor, we thought the app was fucked up.
I thought they had got her.
She's spilling all the secrets. Black man pulled up outside of her.
Sorry, I left and came back, but
why are you not so defending BlackRock? What's up with this defense of BlackRock?
They have nothing to do with this situation that we're talking about. They don't.
BlackRock is involved with everything. They own all these green agendas is by BlackRock. That's Larry, whatever.
That's not
He's
true.
the one pushing a lot of this shit. Even TDI was BlackRock.
You're not wrong, but there was stuff before BlackRock, okay? Like, the Europeans were Greens, and there was the anti-nuclear movement and all of that stuff decades ago.
Look, they're really good at hiding their tracks. At best, that's how it seems at first.
I guess RFK works does RFK work for BlackRock?
No, I'm just saying. Like, think about it. We have a country here that literally has its entire pipeline blown up, and they're all acting dumb on it. They're acting dumb on it, man. And we're gonna act like, no, they did this by themselves, they're not owned. Come on, man. All their politicians are owned. Clearly. I mean, they're not even brave enough to tell their own citizens what happened. We had to hear it from Trump. We only talked about, the Russians blew up the whole thing. We're supposed to believe that. I'm just saying, an American former president had to expose the truth. Or let's be one of the people exposing the truth. So I'm just saying, let's be honest here. They have a government that's owned by corporate in America.
We know that. That's what I just said. I brought up lobbying when I cut out. We need to curb lobbying. As long as people can lobby to get their way, we're never going to have good, they don't have our best interests at heart. It's all about who's paying for what agenda.
That's a good system. And what needs to happen is we need to start lobbying on our own behalf.
Facts.
To do that, we need civil society organization.
But we don't have enough money. They're just going to buy us. We're going to give them the money. They're going to
that's going to be the issue. They're going to send the money somewhere.
Hold on, but
these corporations are not going to lose their voice all of a sudden. They're just going to put the money to the next entity that's going to get them what they want.
But they spend a lot of money to get our votes. And the thing about a community organization is it doesn't have as much money. It still has a lot of money if you're pooling a small amount of money from a lot of people. But a community organization has votes. That's why it has power.
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking yesterday. It's probably true. It was saying, so the salary of Nancy Pelosi is 223,000, but her net worth is 202 million. We got Chuck Schumer. His salary 210,000 a year. His net worth is 75 million. Elizabeth Warren, salary 285K, and she's got a net worth of 67 million. And then what's that turtle who just retired for the Republicans? What's his name? Mitch McConnell. Motherfucker, he's got a salary of 200,000. He's worth 95 million. So, and there's a lot of other
marry a wealthy Chinese woman. So I think she's part of the steel in China, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you guys think that Trump will have the position? Do you guys think that Elon Musk will have the position in the administration he does if he didn't give Trump $275 million towards his campaign?
Possible.
No, this again, guys. Elon does not own Trump, guys. These are just people, businessmen making.
He literally paid for this position. He bought his way into the Trump administration, and y'all are just okay with it.
Well, many
Trump
$275 million.
Yes, but she will. Many other people gave millions of dollars to Trump, and they didn't get
$275 million.
So, just because somebody paid a bunch of millions of dollars, not clear they would get any role at all.
That's not
would
the point.
Would he have it without that? Maybe not, but that's not the only reason he has it.
That's not the point. The point is nobody contributes that much amount of money as a single person. Hold on. As a single person, nobody contributes that much money and then becomes a person that has a position in the government.
Kamala raised more money than Trump.
Hold on.
In less time.
So the first thing I would...
Don't talk about it, folks.
The first thing
what are we talking about here?
The first thing I have to ask you, okay, is like, how does he rank among all the contributors to Trump's campaign? Like, do you have that anywhere?
That's irrelevant.
Because a lot of people have contributed a lot of money to Trump and not ended up with a position.
That's irrelevant. That's not the question. The question is, why is
But that's
Elon...
his question.
The question is, why is Elon Musk, as the richest man in the world, literally, why does he have a part in the government?
I think that's the question.
Knowledge got it.
If he goes left, he'll just get fired. That means nothing. He can ruin a lot of stuff, and hopefully it doesn't happen though. But
Seeley, what are you alert to? What are your warning signs that Elon Musk is becoming susceptible to the power that he's wielding?
so just I always point to the court cases from Tesla. Being inconsistent on your integrity, doing something against the people, Monica, answering your question. And then when judges tell you and juries tell you you're doing wrong, you still try to skip all responsibility. That is sinister to me. It's not evil, Monica, but it's very sinister.
That's not sinister. That's a proper defense of a business.
Calm down.
No, because you have this Disneyland cartoon view of diversity, equity, inclusion.
This isn't a comedy
Everybody should. No. What's a comedy show is what you're saying.
Comedy show.
What a comedy show is what you are saying.
I'm going to finish.
You are criticizing a business for properly defending itself.
Calm down, young man.
Adams.
Calm down.
Let's see their land, and then you can, as loud as you want, respond to that. Just let them land first.
And Monica, that's another answer. That off the cuff childishness is what I'm afraid of, Monica. Go ahead, insecure guy.
Were you misgendering Monica? I mean, was that an opportunity for somebody else to speak? I mean, I don't understand what's happening here. I didn't resort to name calling, but this person in calling people immature most certainly did. And I also think that it gives insight as to his immature view about how a business is supposed to operate, defend itself, and to preserve its assets and its revenue. So again, at the end of the day, the fact that the man went to court, the fact that the man, said F you to judges and a system that was dragging his company towards, having to hold a potential liability, that to me is ridiculous that anybody can say that just because somebody brings a case towards you means that you should just lay down, you should just not fight, and you should just accept what's happening. So again, listening to what you have to say in your sentiments, C-Lay, that to me and that mindset is only one more step towards communism.
On top of which, man, I don't know what's going on with C-Lay this morning.
Hey, no personal attack. Let's stop this personal.
No, but you just landed your plane with one, so be quiet.
Call my name.
Be quiet.
Okay,
don't call my name.
C-Lay, I'm addressing something you said. I'm not personally attacking you. I'm not calling you immature like you did to Adams. I'm not doing any of that. I am saying your name because I'm addressing something you said directly. Okay? Cool. You talked about California and agreeing with her about the flip-floppy nature of tech bros or, people in technology. California never asserted to any flip-floppy nature of people in tech or billionaires. She never said anything of the sort. You've consistently created straw men and then decapitated them on the stage. It doesn't make sense. It's really, really frustrating to hear you talk about certain topics that you act like you can speak so intelligently on, and you have no frame of reference whatsoever.
It's the fragility, Anthony. He's going to go to the racial cases against Elon Musk. That's all it comes down to. The black people that complained about Elon Musk, and he's going to sit here and try to scapegoat around his fragility. That is exactly what this comes down to.
What it is. That's precisely what it is.
Anyone else, or because I'm very aware that the left has gotten so many things wrong over the last 8 years or so that it's very tempting for the right not to pay any attention to their warnings, because the sky is falling, Chicken Little rhetoric is only tolerated so far before we have fried chicken for dinner. So tell me legitimately, what are your metrics for deciding? Because I just listened to the Cambridge debate about how Trump is the 21st century fascist. And 4 of the 6 debaters lied blatantly to the listeners in the debate. So are y'all in reality at all? Are y'all dealing with facts and data, or is it all emotion?
Monica, it's 100%
Hey, Adams, don't talk to me. You called me shit 10 minutes ago. I don't really want to talk to you.
Well, that was more than 10 minutes.
Someone else on the left.
Hold on. Okay, here's the thing. Listen. Monica, or anybody else, listen, you don't have to respond to Adams. Adams is on the stage. It's popcorn, so if no one's speaking, he has the right to respond to anybody else. Nobody, though, is required to even acknowledge him. But we're going to keep the messy in the chat. We're not going to bring it on the stage. I can appreciate your point, but you are welcome to just ignore the shit out of them. But we're not going to tell anybody they can't.
Right, and then you have C-Lay coming off of mute talking about, this is 2 people like a mean girl, like I should be expelled from the stage for having a dissenting opinion.
Let's just keep the messy shit.
He's a mean girl.
Dumb stuff. Let's just ignore it and keep on with the conversation.
So, in response to what Monica was saying, okay, I'm not directing this towards Monica, but I think that, in asking if people are awake, of course they're not, especially when it comes to their fragility and their insecurities and their lack of being able to separate certain
1 hour in the bag,
opinions
baby.
towards things that have not been definitively proven from the actual reality of the productiveness of the said person and what they're accomplishing. So yes, I do think that a lot of these people are asleep, and I also think that they're outside of their common sense.
Yeah, I'm on the left. I'm a Democrat. I'm progressive, but I guess I'm neoliberal, so center left on economic issues. And I think there's far leftists that I don't agree with, of course, and I'm sure there's far right people Republicans don't agree with. So, of course, you're going to hear some rhetoric that sounds like they're living in the clouds, just like I hear rhetoric from the right that sounds like people are living in the clouds. But aren't we talking more about this moderate middle of like 2/3 of America that want to discuss the issues and want to discuss policy? And I think this is what this room has been, more or less. So I do acknowledge, though, I'm a Democrat. I acknowledge there's far left people. I'm not a communist and I'm not a socialist. And there's some number of them on the far left. And I know what you're hearing, but you must know that the majority of Democrats don't believe that.
So, California Dreaming, how do you feel about the tariffs? Just to see if you're, based on your last statement, how do you feel about the tariffs? I know it's a non-Elon question, but I'm curious now.
I mean, it's bad economic policy. That's it. I mean, you can discuss the economic policy, you can argue with economists about it, but I just believe it's bad economic policy.
Could you expand on that answer a little more as to why you believe it's bad economic policy?
Well, I might have to look up my notes. I mean, I'm just remembering my econ classes, so I'm happy to expound upon it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of people who think it's bad economic policy. There's a lot of economists that argue that it's bad economic policy, and that's like the moderate middle that wants to discuss policy. So yes, there's some people that will have a knee-jerk reaction to tariffs because Trump introduced tariffs, but there's also a lot of people that would have problems with tariffs who, it doesn't matter if it's a Democratic president or Republican president that brought it up. So I think it's good to recognize that there are people that want to talk about policy, want to talk about the economics behind what different presidents are doing, and they exist. So I don't know if it's like a gotcha moment or something, but that's why I'm against what he did.
So, I mean, do you understand that we've always had...
Sorry, man. Like in California, literally, you said you might have to consult your notes, and you said there are a lot of economists that are against it. But you did not give like a substantive reason why you said that you were against it.
Well, and the other thing too, Anthony,
understand.
The other thing too, Anthony, is one thing in her understanding of how she, recited her understanding of Trump's policies is that he introduced tariffs. We've always had tariffs. We've always had them. So, I mean, do you understand that, California? We've literally always had them. The only thing that he is doing is changing the amount for which we're receiving and our attitudes towards those said tariffs. So, I mean, this is nothing new. As a matter of fact, if you look at the early parts of America, the model that Donald Trump is trying to deploy is the same model that existed in early America before we had an internal revenue service. So, I mean, I don't understand how the perception in what you said is that Trump is reinventing the wheel. He's simply not. These tariffs have always existed.
California, if you said something like you believe that the tariffs are inflationary and it's going to be, the brunt of the burden is going to be borne by the American taxpayer, and you feel that, even if the ultimate goal is for us to start to jumpstart manufacturing in this country, it's going to take a while before we can, ramp up the resources needed to actually make a dent in how much, things we import into this country. These are all valid reasons why you might have concerns about tariffs, and that's a conversation, but I don't understand when you tell me that, you know, you need to brush up from your old econ notes, and there are a lot of economists that are, you know, against it. Like, I just don't understand Clubhouse sometimes.
Yeah, I'm willing to say I'm not an expert in an area. Like, I think I have much more trust in, you know, experts than Republicans, and I recognize that. So that's why I don't want to get into the nitty gritty. I've seen enough rooms on Clubhouse where people start questioning, does science even exist? And should you even trust professors of economics that have been working on this for 30 years? That's a Republican thing, this anti-intellectualism that I don't want to engage with and I don't believe in. So I'm happy to say, like,
it's another straw man.
this is an issue for Republicans.
It's not, hold on, it's not a Republican thing. There is a treatise book written in the 1950s by a dude named Hofstadter, who was a professor at Yale. It's called American Anti-Intellectualism, and it is considered one of the primers on the study of anti-intellectualism in our country. And what you find out when you read this book is that from the start of the country, there has been a tension between those of expertise and those who don't have expertise. And that at different periods in American history, we relied more on experts, and in some areas, we did not. That is not simply a Republican thing. That is an American population thing. And it's well chronicled throughout all of our history that we have different periods in which we go back and forth between trust of experts and non-trust of experts. One of the pieces and reasons why folks on the right appear to distrust experts is because they believe they're looking down their nose at them, going, I from New York know how to live your life better than you do. I American farmer in the Midwest, know more about the climate than you do. And that is, as you would imagine, not received very well, right? People don't like being neglected. They don't like being talked down to. And if they feel like they've been talked down to, yeah, one of the things you're going to get to push in anti-intellectualism. But to say that it is purely a Republican problem, I'm sorry, ma'am, that is just a misstatement of fact in its entirety. What you are seeing today.
Marshall, like, I think you've made the point. Yeah.
Yeah, Marshall, I hear where you're coming from with that, and I agree 100%. But I think as far as modern times and the weaponization of science on the left has led people to question their sensibilities and reality in front of them. And I think that is where you see people saying, listen, you're not going to tell me that a grown man in a wig is a woman. We have a biological understanding of what that is through science. So when the left has tried to, package an agenda in changing and weaponizing that said science, okay, to counter reality, I think that is where people have rejected a lot of people's, movements in trying to get us to follow a certain type of science that the left is propagating.
I think, hold on. I think that this is largely true, and I imagine that plenty of people have positions that they're going to take on this. I don't want us to get on this rabbit hole, though, because that's exactly what it is. I think maybe a better place to focus, and I want to also make sure that David and Paul don't want to jump in here, but maybe a better place to focus is on tariffs specifically, not whether or not the right likes tariffs, that those that do, because they're anti-science. I think that tariffs are problematic in the circumstances where they're just applied to somehow reclaim manufacturing. I don't think it's going to work very well. I think that there are better ways for us to go about doing things. But I'm happy to hear the arguments. I think there are also places where tariffs are good. I also think that Trump's tariffs from his first term, a lot of people see them as having worked. I think there's a really strong argument, though, that that's because the economy was doing really well in the beginning, and whatever damage they caused was absorbed. People can disagree with that completely, but let's just stick to the tariffs and the points of view.
Yeah, I'll just say
California, before you do that, California.
Yeah, look, let me just say.
I was waiting to say this, California. So just to be helpful for your econ class.
I was waiting and you was waiting. Together we all be waiting.
One reason that I brought this up.
Okay, California. I'm happy for you to keep being a big part of this conversation, but you can't be the major part of it.
No, I
do
think
you're.
from the men in the room.
Listen,
I'm sorry.
Okay, California, here's the thing. We're gonna open another little California. I want you to be in the room. People are going to be condescending. I will be condescending if it helps, and that way a woman is doing it. But I just want to make sure we're getting multiple voices. I also wanted to make sure that Paul and David didn't want to jump in. And then I absolutely want to hear your rebuttal to this, but I want to get some points in opposition to what you said that are not about science. I don't want people to reply to that part of what you said before. So Paul, David, do either of you want to jump in? Otherwise, let's let Celia respond, and then you can get...
So yeah, I wasn't attempting to be condescending. So let me just say this: if somebody in Scotland is already has sheep, and they're using their sheep as product, and you have sheep in America, and you want to ship to Scotland and sell to the Scottish people, if there's a tariff to sell to your people, I don't see the problem with that, because you're trying to buy into an industry. You're trying to sell to a different market. That's Scotland's customers, and it's already being served locally and domestically. Sheep are being provided. You're an outside person trying to ship. Matter of fact, you're an outside person trying to ask Parliament for a handout called NAFTA. Let's just call it NAFTA, and to try to lower your financial exposure so that you can compete with the domestic sheep producer. That's really the problem. So tariffs are a good thing. But go ahead, you got it.
So let me just say, the reason that I brought up anti-intellectualism is that I'm willing to say that this is a complex topic. I know that 16 Nobel Prize-winning economists say Trump policies will fuel inflation. There was literally a letter by 16 Nobel Prize-winning economists saying that tariffs
California, hold on, California, I'm interested in what you have to say about tariffs.
I'm not interested in what I have to say. I'm interested in what Nobel Prize-winning economists
respectfully, California, unless you're going to be specific about what you're saying about tariffs, I'm not interested in the 16 Nobel-winning
and that's the issue with intellectualism.
California, please shut the fuck up for just a second. All I'm asking is for you to make the arguments. Don't worry about the 16 Nobel economists. I'm sure that whoever disagrees with you can come up with some economists that have some sort of credibility as well. My point is, this is just a waste of time. I'm interested in your position on tariffs. I'm interested in the positions that other people in the room have. Let's just not worry about the 16 that you're responding to. Let's worry about the points that you have.
So that's why I don't want to engage in this topic, because we come from it from very different directions.
Yet you're consistently unmuting then. If you don't want to engage in it, then I would suggest that you just stop engaging.
Yeah, finding the science that supports your side is something everybody does. So, yeah, we can say, yeah, I can cite this and this. But tariffs, we need to be careful we don't get back to the Jimmy Carter, where it does start hurting agriculture, where it's overburdensome, or whatever other industry. We need to make sure it stays balanced enough. But it is one thing that brought, Toyota truck development to actually build manufactured Toyota pickups in the United States instead of overseas. So they're not all bad, but we need to really watch what ratio of them we're doing and not get too hog wild with it.
So I think you're right about that. There is a piece somebody sent, one of my political friends sent me, and it's a fact sheet from the White House. And the reason it is interesting is because it names some of the tariffs. Now, I do think that, as I understand tariffs, they raise the price for the end consumer. But just for, 3 examples of things that the U.S. deals with on a tariff end from other countries. The U.S. tariff on ethanol is mere 2.5%, yet Brazil charges the United States ethanol export tariffs of 18%. As a result, in 2024, the U.S. imported over $200 million in ethanol from Brazil, while the U.S. exported only $52 million worth of ethanol in Brazil. Second, the U.S. average applied most favored nation, MFN status,
most favored nation tariff on agricultural goods is 5%. But India's average applied most favored nation status tariff is 39% on the United States of America. India also charges a 100% tariff on U.S. motorcycles, while we only charge a 2.4% tariff on Indian motorcycles. Third, the European Union can export all the shellfish it wants to America, but the EU shellfish exports from 48 of our states, despite committing in 2020 to expedite approvals of shellfish exports. As a result, in 2023, the United States imported $274 million in shellfish from the EU, but exported only $38 million.
Marshall, this is killing me.
I'm done. I'm done with it. My only point in citing those specific things, where you said people everywhere, essentially, all the smart people think this. Well, these folks are plenty smart, and they don't always agree. And just blindly relying on people because they have credentials, to be frank, is not the way to elucidate the truth from things. You can
Marshall, but here's the thing. I don't want to go down.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'll just leave it there.
I think it's fair to make the point that there are people with a different position. That this isn't what I wanted her to rely on. I don't want us to either. The whole point of this stage is so that people can share their perspective. Anybody is welcome to ask for, if you make a claim and they want to know where you got this from, then, assert your 16 Nobel Prize winning economist or whatever it is that you're looking at. But let's work with our own positions. Largely, like I said, I have a lot of complaints about the tariffs and the way that he's going about these things. I think there's arguments to be made on both sides. I'd like to hear.
At some point in time, because I'm a big defender of Jimmy Carter policies on dates, timelines, actual people's names. Sometimes when people hate on Carter, as it relates to tariffs or as it relates to anything, they can't actually quote what they claim they hate. So at some point in time, in the back chat or in the chat, I would love to see what people are against an actual tariff that he passed that people are against, because I don't see it. Tariffs are a great thing for the country domestically. Yes, it does hurt people who want to buy a Hyundai or a Rolls Royce when there's plenty of local cars available, but I have no problem with that person that wants to get an exotic paying an extra amount of money. I don't want to make it super fair for them because they clearly want an exotic over a domestic.
So, from a safety standpoint, do you understand why a lot of people choose to drive European cars versus cars that were made in the USA? Celie?
So from a safety standpoint, many a times, and I'm answering your question, it's a perception. It's a perception. I used to work at Kitover trucks. They were stated as the most safe, this and that. It's all perception. So the Chevys, the Fords, that's all perception. There's nothing. I've been in car areas for a while. I have classic cars. People can't explain the difference as far as safety, because many a times it's just like, and I'm gonna land right here. It's just like when Hyundai came in and Daewoo and Yugo. The claim was that they were great, they were this, they were that, and over the years, people's perception changed. So this safety claim, I don't get it. I don't get it. But go ahead, sir. You got it.
No, I mean, for me personally, when you look at the engineering of Mercedes and BMW, they have steel bumpers, right? That maybe perhaps, aside from the raw materials that they actually use to actually do, real authentic leather, may be the reason why they're more expensive. However, it's one of those things, Celie. Like I've been in a lot of car accidents, and I have experienced a difference in getting into an accident in a Honda versus getting into an accident in a BMW or a Mercedes. There's just a difference. There's a different sense of quality that goes into putting things in, like steel bumpers, for example. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things. I feel like we should take an opportunity to compete with a lot of the European markets, specifically when it comes to car manufacturing and increasing safety in America. You know, so it is what it is. You know, keep in mind, you know, BMW and Mercedes, they have operations and manufacturings in the United States. So while it is an international company, it is, you know, production that's still happening and benefiting America. And I also think that that's a very important context that a lot of people really don't understand when we have this conversation.
So this idea, real quick, this idea that safety is just perception, I vehemently disagree with it. I think that there are safety measurements. I think that there, you know, car and driver, the national transportation, whatever, they actually conduct studies and they can make comparisons and have safety ratings between different cars. I think this is, you know, that it's just perception, but this is not just about marketing and, you know, like what your favorite color car is. I think that there's actual data that we can look at, measurable data that we can look at, and we can glean information as to the safety of different vehicles and different manufacturers. And, you know, so I reject the idea of it just being perception.
It's not just perception. I mean, let's apply this to, you know, the aerospace industry. Let's apply this to the aerospace industry. Would you be, you know, making the same type of claims when it comes to how we manufacture planes? Or do we utilize the best technology and the best resources to be able to manufacture said planes?
So I'm going to use evidence of Durango. But before I do that, let me address one of the things. When you read a lot of customer rating books and magazines, and matter of fact, just talk to people who rate safety, a lot of it has to do with the customer's feedback, not necessarily what the industry puts out. Like I'm about to use Durango as an example, because Adam brings up a good thing about steel. You can pay for steel, but using the first Durango that came out, it had too much steel, according to the safety people. Safest truck ever. Go look it up. But because it kept demolishing other cars that had gotten into an accident, and that car remained great, they said, we got to take some of the steel out of this. So you see how that's counterproductive to what's being said? It is safe, it has the steel in it, but because the culture of accidents here in America is not like Europe, unlike Europe. I've lived overseas for 4 years. It's unlike Europe. They couldn't have all that steel in the first edition of Durango, so they had to take it out. And that defeats this concept of, hey, we want the best, and it doesn't work like that amongst some of these car people. I have to do something for the house. I have to do something for the house.
Walk me through why they took the steel out, because you're not making any sense.
Yeah, Adams, he has to literally run. You understand? He has to literally run. All right.
Did you understand the last thing that he said? Like, that didn't make any sense. Why did they take the steel out the Durango, and what was the causation behind why they did that? Like, he went to the fact that it should have been there, it was absent, and I gotta go. Okay, so what are we talking about?
Adams, what we were talking about originally was whether or not safety is just based on perception. He totally went against what his initial assertion was. He disproved it, and then he ran. Like, you know, he tried to shift the goalpost. He said safety is perception, and then he talked about the safest truck ever made. This is Clubhouse for you. This is the stuff that happens on Clubhouse. And then they're going to end up trying in another room
they're going to try to vilify you and say, oh, I can't stand such and such, and they don't make any sense. They have no idea what they're talking about. This is what happens on Clubhouse all the time. So California, did you have anything else you wanted to add on tariffs? Did you break out the econ notes? All right, guys, I'll be back, man. Sunday brunch time, man. Most High bless you guys. Nothing but the best.
God bless you too, Anthony.
Hey, thanks, Anthony. Have a good one.
Appreciate you guys.
Ooh-wee. It's only Sunday.
You will be serious and honest.
Yeah, I'm more serious and honest than you are. That's the irony of all of this. That's why you're actually roasting yourself. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, like for example, if I ask you a simple question about stuff that you claim to know, you'll dodge it all day. And that's dishonest. And I can expose that over and over again with you. But you can't do that to me. You can't expose me for being dishonest. Isn't that funny?
Hi, well, I'd like to interrupt Honey because he has this show called Roasting. And Honey, I'd like to do a one-on-one show with you. And in fact, I'd actually like to pay you. And I'd like to produce the Honey Badger show where we essentially roast everyone. I know maybe you're not interested in roasting everyone, but I think
I literally
everyone.
thought about this yesterday, exactly what you're talking about. I'm like, how on earth could I become a commodity for this guy to where he'd actually pay me for content?
I see it's really a partnership. I'm just willing to invest a little bit into, your time, but it's a 50-50 business and it's really a YouTube business where it's the roast show. Like we have to look at this in terms of television and the Gong Show. Like we are reproducing the Gong Show, if that makes any sense.
Totally, dude. Too bad we can't get Charo.
I just think you're great at it. Like you're very sharp, it's just you get it. So, but the thing is, you have to.
What is this?
Well, we're trying to see some people try to be productive on this app, and they actually want to make money to increase their power and their joy in life, as opposed to just like living in diarrhea with everyone on this app because they're fucking retarded. Let me explain to you how the roast show works.
No. Wait, my friend. Cursing in my room is not allowed.
Well, see, the point is, I really don't care. I just needed to talk to Honey Badger. I don't care about you. So, Honey, just remember that, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Allah. Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Frank. How are you? Yeah.
It's about building power and using power to come up with political ends, right? Typically, what I mean by that is like, we'll overemphasize the national and, not do the stuff that helps give you realistic experience on the use of accruing of and proper maintenance of power for the voter. I think that has a lot to do with it, actually. Oh, one more piece. I think there is... People will tell you they don't have time. What they mean by that is they're not willing to reprioritize their schedule, right? We have time for the stuff we prioritize.
You're trying to be on Clubhouse.
Pretty much. That's sort of my point, right? If we have time to do this, we have time to do other stuff, right? And the way we prioritize our time does that. So it's not like I can't or I can never find time. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely people who legitimately have issues and kids and all that other kind of shit, right? But the vast majority of people who don't get involved, they don't get involved because they don't reprioritize their time. Being part of the civic fabric is not as important in their time as, say, watching TV or being on Clubhouse.
Well, and that's why you know me, I personally do not like Elon Musk for a multitude of reasons, and maintaining consistency in my ideology. That's been ingrained into me from birth. I'm not going to go too much into that. I felt like he was dog whistling in a certain sense of people's vulnerability in trying to preserve the nuclear family and family values, while he continues to live in a way that's otherwise. So for me personally, I don't like it. So, but I do recognize what he's doing as far as maximizing efficiency. And looking at this, and this has been one of my biggest complaints working in corporate America for 15 years now, and kind of looking at how do people spend their time? How do people spend their time? Having conversations at the water cooler and having conversations as opposed to increasing productivity is something that we as Americans, okay, with all of the grievances towards, inflation, all of the grievances towards wanting things now, people have seemed to become absent in why they are paid to be in certain positions. Case in point, when we look at companies like Google and the political influence that they have in elections. When you go to Google, they have slides in some of their corporate offices to take, employees down from one floor down to the other. It's a party and play, culture. You see what I'm saying? A party and play culture. Even when I worked at Zillow had the opportunity to be able to focus on changing and revolutionizing beyond what they already have the real estate market. But when you go into their office, it's this party and play, team building culture. People getting so drunk in the middle of their workday that they pass out in the freaking bathroom. Okay, that is not how American government should be running. Okay, that is not how the culture of the people operating our government should be abiding to. So when you have people like Elon or this task force that has been put into place to increase efficiency, we should be looking at that as an example and a model towards increasing said efficiency in the public sector. Go to work and work. Go to work and work. Stop having those ridiculous passive conversations that take you away from productivity. Focus on your job.
I was always thought you make yourself an indispensable employee. You always have a job.
Well, to me, making myself an indispensable employee is not engaging in the modern culture of corporate culture, in the sense of, we're here to make friends. We're not here to make friends. We're here to accomplish a certain goal. If friendship comes of that, then friendship comes of that. But we're not there for that. And I don't think that people prioritize, number one, their individual goals as they sit there and complain about inflation. And number two, I don't think that people prioritize organizational goals over their individual penchant to not stay focused and to focus on a bunch of bullshit that, quite frankly, isn't congruent with organizational goals. I mean, take a look at your company Christmas party, for example. There's people that are there to get drunk. There's people there, to have a good time. And then there's also people there to be able to, to increase opportunities to be able to put food on their family's table. There's two different types of people that show up to a company Christmas party.
The group of people I work with is rather small, and so a company Christmas party essentially revolves around having a barbecue at somebody's house.
Oh, I went to my cousin's company Christmas party. At the time, she used to work for New American Funding. They had Snoop Dogg at the Island Hotel in Newport Beach. That man, I used to work for the Irvine Company, and to have an artist like that smoking a blunt on stage in the middle of a freaking dedicated event space is wild. They spent millions of dollars on that event. Think about how much money could have been invested back into the company. Think about that for a second, Marshall.
Dude, throwing party for you and fight Snoop Dogg is cool as that. It doesn't seem like a work expense.
Bieber, welcome to the stage. You want to jump in?
Yes, hey Kelly. Hey Marshall, I was just wondering, when people say that everyone should be more involved in local politics, why is there an assumption that people aren't involved in local politics? And I live in your state in the eastern part, and I can tell you our community is overall very involved in the local politics, but it's not going to make the national news of things that's going on here because, you know, we're a rural community.
I think the answer is because the general participation rate for local elections ranges anywhere between 15 and 25%. So, like, in your community, in my community, we both have, like, thriving civic endeavors, right? But there aren't as many people as could be involved. I think why people make the assumption that they're not has a lot to do with that statistic. But I also think not encountering enough of those folks probably has something to do with it. And then there's the assumption bit, which is people will make assumptions. And my dad used to say to me as a kid, assuming makes an ass out of you and me, is what he would say. So I would highlight on the piece of behavior that can be modified as the assumption bit. Folks, including myself, should not assume so much. Right, but I think that stat and then the assumption piece are the better answers to your question.
Yeah, I can understand that. I just wonder, because sometimes I wonder if that's a way to shut people down on commenting on the national, what's going on nationally. But yes, I mean, because even when I think about our school board meetings and our city council meetings, there's normally standing room only. So I don't know if everyone, you know, I know the voting numbers sometimes look low. And one thing I could say about our community is that a lot of times there's only one person on the ballot. So it's not, so some people aren't engaged because of that. And that has a lot to do with just how the community is set up. And if you want to run for office, it's a lot of, different like social things. And we kind of normally have someone that's in the office and people aren't going to, they know who's going to be the next person to run and things like that.
Yeah, I also think we don't do enough highlighting, Feebert, of places where there are thriving civic communities. And instead of lifting them up as examples for people to look at and, attract to, we tend to stay with the easier narrative, which is that people don't participate. People tend to do, at least in my experience in life, they tend to do what is easy, not necessarily what always builds.
Thank you.
You know, it's crazy, Marshall. Looking at the chat, you have people that are complaining about the economic policies of Donald Trump, yet at the same time, they, they believe in things like, resale affordable luxury. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. But you know what's crazy, Marshall? Did you know that Louis Vuitton actually opened up manufacturing operations in Texas? I think we talked about this before.
No, but that's badass.
Right. So, I mean, the fact that, Trump has created an ecosystem where Louis Vuitton understood the assignment, you're going to be charged tariffs if you don't develop and increase operations in the market where you actually make your bread and butter, right? So, I mean, I feel like people aren't listening to what's being said, like how we talked about, BMW and Mercedes. they both have manufacturing operations with certain models in the United States. If you're driving a G-Wagon, that's completely different than, you know, your influence as far as investing in the American economy versus somebody who's driving a GLS, right? So, I mean, I feel like Trump is going on in a good trajectory, a good direction in terms of if foreign companies want to be able to compete for our business, you have to open up manufacturing operations in the United States, employ Americans to be able to invest in that said business market. So I don't feel like that's a bad thing. Why is that a bad thing? We now have 3 companies that we've offered up as an example that have changed trajectory in being consistent with the aims of Trump along economic policy. Louis Vuitton, okay, Mercedes, and BMW. Anybody want to argue that point? Why are tariffs bad? Brings jobs.
Well, sometimes it brings jobs. If you're looking for an actual hard answer, the answer is to raise prices on the end consumer. The person paying for something ultimately pays a higher price when you tariff. Now, if you tariff for the reasons that I read out of that document, right? Like the tariffs tend to make a lot more sense when you think that way. But the most honest and most defensible answer as to why tariffs are not a thing that always should be done is that they raise the prices for the consumer, fundamentally.
Well, it raises the prices of the consumer if the companies that are affected by that tariff don't invest in production in our market. There's no longer a tariff issue if those same companies that have, you know, proven themselves lucrative in competing in our market set up operations in the United States and employ Americans.
Well,
right?
Dude, I don't mean it in that you can't then get the price down. What I mean is the best good faith answer to your question is that tariffs, depending upon how they're employed, raise the end price for the consumer because the business doesn't eat it; they pass it along. Right? That was more my point. I don't pretend to be an economic wizard or somebody who has a lot of expertise in the area, to be frank.
But that cost that's deferred, that cost that's passed along to the consumer is predicated on said tariffs, and it's predicated on the cost of production, which also includes moving product. So if you're an overseas company and you're having to pay a shitload in tariffs, okay, to be able to move your product into one of the most lucrative markets that you depend on, what is your out? I mean, you could raise prices, right? And people can slowly stop, consuming your product, or you can become congruent with the said policy change, which like Louis Vuitton, Mercedes-Benz, and a lot of companies have adapted with that change. My whole point, Marshall, is again, I recognize that it is a problem, but there is an out and a pathway towards a solution to be able to control that said cost. And if you haven't looked recently, there's a lot more of the Mercedes markets that are actually cheaper than Tesla.
Dude, look, I'm not arguing that once you build on-site infrastructure, you can cheapen the price you give. I'm more stating, if you start, you have to build a brick and mortar, for example. Building a brick and mortar takes time. During that time, the prices are probably going to be high, right? So if one were to, have an objection, that would be the standard good faith objection that I would hear from most people. Now, the question then is how long are prices going to be high? And usually from my experience, and again, I'm not an econ whiz, once prices are raised, they very rarely fall back.
It's okay, bro. Just don't buy that shit. It doesn't enrich our economy anyway. That's the whole point of the tariffs.
Well, I'll be really frank. The Ford pickup door that I have on my truck right now came from a maquiladora in Mexico. So,
see what I mean?
Having a tariff on truck doors that come from Mexico only raises the price for the end consumer because they raise the price on the door. Instead of eating the price on the door, the company then charges a higher price for the vehicle.
So then, why don't we focus on moving
that.
production back to Michigan?
That's the whole point
Look,
of the tariffs.
you're missing the point of what I'm saying. I am not
the point of what we're saying. We understand that when this happens and goes into effect, prices are going to go up. We understand that. The point is for these companies to bring their factories back here so we can go back to work.
Yes, but one of the reasons this is being harped on is because Donald Trump talked about making prices cheaper, and this doesn't make prices cheaper in the short term. This makes prices more expensive.
It's not about short term, bro. It's not about short term.
It's about what he promised. What he promised were cheaper prices. When people hit on this, what they are hitting on is the fact that he said they wanted cheaper prices, and yet he's doing something that results in a raise to the end consumer. I do not disagree that businesses should come back to America and that they should build brick and mortars and we should make shit here. I think that's an admirable idea.
But they're not. You keep using the term brick and mortar. They're not. They're no longer brick and mortar. Those are major corporate conglomerates.
If you bring back a ability to make car doors in the United States, you have to have a brick and mortar. You have to have a factory, which means you have to build the damn thing, right? And if you have to build the damn thing, then you have to up the prices. And
we're not disagreeing with that, but to define that as brick and mortar, I feel like that deploys a certain misconception.
Okay, so when you make something, so are you alive or?
See, Honey Badger, you should be getting paid for this. Like, don't waste your time, honey.
So, son. So, what was the question? Well, what was the question? If you make a cake, are you dead or alive? I'm alive. But the cake is dead. Is it? Don't you know that it's dead? Okay, what about it? So, how can you be alive and you made something dead? Very easily. We just described it. I can bake a cake. It's food. Okay, so yeah, dude. Even more directly, I can grill a steak. So you see, Jeff, how I beated him. Beated? We say beated? Or what should I say, Jeff? Honestly, I think you're getting wrecked, well, but whatever. To beat in the past. To beat in the past? What's that mean? How can I say I beated? I beated him. You.
Okay, this is called the Honey Badger Roasts Theists. This is a subscribe podcast. We're going to see if Honey Badger will come in the room and see if we can get anybody else to come in the room. So basically the concept is prove to me God exists, and then you just roast the person, and they self-roast, and so it becomes a barbecue. And essentially, you know, it's a party. And every television show is essentially filming a party. So this is the concept, and hopefully we'll get the show sold to Netflix. The Honey Badger Roast. Honey Badger, where is my honey? I need a badger. Ooh, Benji, you want to be a part of the Honey Badger Roast? I think we're going to like create a television show and sell it, because this concept is just too funny, because it's the song that goes on forever and ever. It never ends. Welcome, Benji. I'm gonna mod you because we'll make you a partner, or we'll pay you as an employee, but we'll give you some equity in the show, some ownership rights, some perpetual royalties and licensing fees. We just need our Honey Badger. So invite people to the room and we can start the show. It's just going to be a 30-minute roast because I'm going to the gym. I have a life. and this app has to be used. You can't be used by it. Too many F words and N words want to sit here and talk all day long about nothing, waste your time, waste their time. This is like their dopamine talk therapy session, but they're not capturing it. So I will capture it for them. And maybe one day people will look back and say, wow, I'd like to give you my money because this was a thoroughly entertaining show. And we have the rights to Clown House. We're the record keeper. Our library will be monetized and go up, 10,000% in value. That's what we're hoping for. But without our honey badger and without theists to participate, we have no great content. So we need those two alchemical formula elements, two variables. We need the roaster and we need the roasted. We need the heartbreaker and we need the heartbroken. Those are the secrets. We need opposites, Benji. Without opposites, there can be no positivity. Positivity being the profit, the dollars, the shekels, the money. A lot of people say, it's about the money. And they ain't wrong, because the money is the tracking device for the activity. Without that tracking device, there is no activity. And we need action here. Where is our honey badger? Come on, honey. Stop wasting your time in that room and come to the real production house. We've got the real value contained in this facility. We've looked at the cost benefits analysis, the return on investment, the charter, and we are confident that this plan will be a successful operation. We've reverse timetabled. We've looked at all the diagnostics and we have confirmed that this is a go. All engines go. If Elon can launch rockets day after day, I am sure that we can turn this app around in the same way that Adrian Dittman is optimizing the government by firing everyone who doesn't respond to his email request. What a genius way to determine if there's ghosts on the books. Oh, you didn't respond to our email? Well, you no longer get paid. Sorry. Didn't show up to work? Well, you don't have a job. You're fired. That's life. If you don't move, you're dead in the water. So where is our honey badger? Honey, I am home. What the fuck? Oh my gosh. It did work. I have all these videos of like this homeless guy in my area that I was filming as I would like go to work, just like walk by and just do a quick little stream. And I had some girl randomly texting me today telling me to remove a video that she claims she's in, and I'm like, whatever. And I just made it private. Deleted her text because, but I'm like, how did she even find it? Because I have thousands of videos. Like, did she spend countless hours going through clips to find out where she's at in my podcast? Where she called into the show? So it's really annoying. YouTube is so annoying because you get the feeling that you're just screaming into a vacuum, and even whoever watches your stuff, it's like bots. But I mean, maybe it's not all in vain. Maybe because I've utilized it correctly, I've actually made myself a brighter star, essentially. I think that's what people are technically working on, is their numinosity, their aura, their luminosity. Numinosity. Oh, all right. Well, I'm just gonna play some meditation music, or maybe let's play a honey badger clip. Honey badger fight. And then we'll play that. That'll be the music If we can even get a honey badger. Ooh, this honey badger ripped the eye out of the leopard. Holy shit. These honey badgers are basically like bastards. Let's see if we can find a honey badger sound. Honey badger. Yeah, here we go. It's basically like a rat, technically. I have a theory that technically dogs are just rats. Honey badgers are like rats. These marsupials are really just like rats, but honey badger is really a beautiful animal. I bet you could domesticate a honey badger and it would be as good as a dog, if not even smarter and better than a dog. Because it's technically like a little mini bear. I don't know the names for these genuses or homogeneuses or whatever the fuck they call those things, where they classify and categorize the animal kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the insect kingdom. They have like the genuses or whatever it is, or the scientific, like Latin kind of name. This is essentially what the show is about. It's about a honey badger just like fighting everything and anything that it comes in contact with. They really are little bears. Man, we should domesticate honey badgers. I bet you that'd be a huge business. Imagine living with a honey badger. They're such perfect... Yeah, they are bears. They're fucking bears. Look at that thing. It's a fucking bear. These things are so smart. They're unbelievable. It's a fucking bear. That's why you can't stop it. Look at its head. Come on, honey badger. Benji, honey badger is in another room talking to a theist right now, so if you could like go in there and find him and tell him, hey, Subscribe Now podcast has a honey badger room going. He'd like you to join it so he can conduct a roast. If you could go and be the messenger and collect your equity.
another question, please?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, do you still think that you beat Honey Badger here?
Yeah, I do.
I have a show running.
Wow, the delusion is strong.
Dude, religion has been wild. No, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's tricky.
So do we use this terminology, Jeff, about God? God is complex, simple. From where did you get this?
I mean, I would say that there is one, right? I haven't come across anyone.
So we have God attributes. We don't call God complex.
All right, come on.
We say that
Just
God
show me
knows.
what you got.
God is all powerful.
What do you mean? Just show me how you would
say that God is complex.
Well, I wouldn't kiss you. I'm not me. I'm like
We don't use this terminology about God.
What terminology do you use?
Yeah.
We use what God used in the scriptures.
Wait, so is he? Can he talk?
Yeah, God speaks. Yeah.
Right, and animals speak, right? So he's an animal.
You are. I don't know what to say now.
So
okay,
just say you don't know.
Stop.
God.
You're not respectful anyway.
Yeah. What do you mean I'm not respectful? I've been totally respectful.
You'll go to the public now.
He didn't stop swearing. Like, he didn't swear anymore. He was being respectful. Just because he's questioning the stuff that you're saying, that's not disrespectful. So
Yeah, Jeff, is disrespectful to say that God is such and such?
You don't think that that's a reasonable question from someone coming from our perspective?
No. There is no reason to say this.
Sure there is. I mean, you're the one that brought up complexity. So now we're trying to figure it out. How is that this?
Okay, this is the Honey Badger show called Roasting You. Hopefully we can get Honey Badger to come in. Should probably just bring in all of my accounts.
Some of it's American. Some of the sources American. Some of them are Canadian.
All right. Okay.
I saw you ping me in some rooms before, but I wasn't able to.
I think it was a Norwegian. No, I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know either. I saw a little bit late.
Hey,
Wisdom.
I just want to say free Gaza from Hamas.
Oh my God, Adrian Dittman.
Hey, we don't give a fuck about your Muslim problems, mate. Calm the fuck down.
And he's Jewish.
I don't give a fuck. Go do this in Israel. I don't want to hear none of your bullshit.
Mate, I just want to free Gaza from Hamas, mate.
Bro, you can do that in your own time.
This is my own time, mate.
No, this is our time right now.
Our time? What makes it our time?
We are a collective.
Really?
In this room, yes.
You're suggesting that we are a collective?
Not you.
Exactly. So then how is it our time? And how is it a collective?
Look, listen, mate, suck my dick and just shut the fuck up, okay? I don't want to
Exactly.
hear
You've
about
got
Israel
nothing to say, mate. You've got nothing interesting, nothing smart. You're just a schmuck.
Yeah, that's why you're talking about a war that's been going on for fucking half a year now.
Half a year? Fucking 2,000 years, you fucking idiot. You think it started yesterday?
2,000 years, seriously. You really believe that fucking propaganda bullshit?
No, I believe in the power of now.
You're funny. I'm gonna anti.
It's true. I believe in the power of now. It's a compression of all the things in the past and all the things in the future. It's called the now. Subscribe to it now.
Clearly you're insane, so I would like to become friends with you.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Are you projecting your own insanity onto me?
Oh, sure, yeah, of course.
Adrian Dittman, please stop.
Shut up. You support terrorism, you sexy jihadist, you. If you weren't so damn beautiful, you know no one would support you or you won't have anything to do with you if you weren't so fucking beautiful.
Hey, could you stop taking the piss out of my accent?
Shut the fuck up, mate. This is a 10 to 15 minute room. I came to fucking roast you and other dumb fucks who deserve it. Like Mako here. Look at that disgusting black and white photo of Mako. He's so fucking slimy, I can tell he needs shampoo and conditioner and a moisturizer and a fucking sun to sit in front of. He's slimy looking, he's this disgusting little rat looking creature.
Hey, shut up, you fake Jew. I'll decapitate you.
What is a fake Jew?
Oh my god.
This is a 10 to 15 minute roast. It's my brunch hour. It's barbecue. Anybody bring the fucking coleslaw and beans?
You're hilarious, Wisdom.
Oh, Adrian Dittman. When are you gonna free Palestine for me?
Well, I went out on a date last night, and then she texted me afterwards and said, I don't want to see the world on YouTube. I want to travel the world with somebody. And you also don't support my ayahuasca journey. So I don't think we're a match. Good luck. And I hope you find what you're looking for. I was like, so you want me to pay for your trips around the world as you get stoned off of ayahuasca because you think that's healing all the pain in the body, in the mind. I was like, have you tried Clubhouse?
Honestly, I'm over Palestine. I want to Islamicize Israel.
You want to Islamicize Israel?
Yeah.
No, thank you, no.
Nobody asked you.
We don't want, because I'm Palestinian and we don't want that.
I didn't ask you for permission, sorry.
You don't have to ask me, we don't want that shit.
How about we just blow up the Kitover, right? The black box of Saturn, and then see what happens after that?
Why don't we just drop a nuclear bomb in Mecca and solve the whole fucking riddle right now, mate?
We can't do that because there's oil there. I dare y'all.
Dare me?
Well, maybe a few rocket heads to Mecca. I think that'll sort a lot of things out.
Could you imagine a B-1 bomber with a giant 60-kiloton nuclear weapon taking out the entire problem in one clean shot?
Sure.
It's not a crime. You're right.
It is. When someone insults you, you should call police and you should get arrested for this.
So what about when someone then falsely accuses you of something? Should they be arrested?
Because what?
What if this was a made-up story? You heard from somebody, they said something, and you just got somebody arrested that didn't do anything.
No, I mean someone insulted you in the street. You call police, they will tell you, no, we cannot do anything. This is the law in the UK, I think. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's the case. Welcome, Cheese. How are you? Once you stop eating pizza, Cheese, what is this?
Cheese, do you think it's a call to violence if somebody disrespects you?
No, I don't understand the big deal.
So you mean, Cheese, if someone curses you in your face, you don't have a right to call him to the court?
To the court? No.
If you called the 911 and said, this guy insulted me to my face, they would probably arrest you for wasting resources.
Okay. Jim.
I'm serious. That's probably what would happen. The cop would look at you and go, what are you doing? Get out of here before you get arrested.
Yeah, it's really culture that you have,
Okay, but what if a woman was in a Muslim society and Muslim household and they called the police about the husband, I don't know, raising a hand against her or insulting her or something like that? Would the cops do something?
Yeah, so he can get punished. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, son. So I like talking to you, but try to be respectful with us, respect us like we respect you, and you're welcome to have different opinions.
Yeah, for sure.
I will not get offended. Yeah.
Oh, I don't get offended. I think you do. I was just, that's why I was asking you, like, is Allah less or more complex than a jungle?
Okay, this is not an honest question anyway.
No, it's an honest question.
I wanted you just to know that, I do not have a problem that you have different opinions.
Is that a problem for you to handle?
When you speak about God, or you speak about prophets, you can ask questions in a polite way anyway. But this is not a polite question anyway.
This is not a polite question?
Okay, my battery here is dying. I hope you've enjoyed my morning podcast.